Hi everyone, I'm finally doing another podcast, and this is a podcast for whichever number I'm on. I know it's plus 175, so that's all I can say. But welcome to the journey. And our guest today is a US Marine veteran, former firefighter, entrepreneur, and international best-selling author of Warrior Entrepreneur: Lessons from the Battlefield to the Boardroom, which I think is a good title for the podcast as well, personally. So, they have dedicated their life to leadership, resilience, and overcoming adversity. And they now work with leaders from corporate America, the military, and beyond to inspire them with timeless lessons from history. And his journey from growing a business out the trunk of his car to $30 million in revenue to testifying before Congress, which is a big, respectful thing in its own right mind, and representing the US at the Global Entrepreneurship Conference offers a unique perspective on leadership, grit, and innovation. Welcome, Zach Green, to the journey.
Thank you, David. Appreciate it. It's a real
You,
honor to be on the show with you.
you're welcome. Now, journeys, obviously, as you know, when you're growing up, you aspire to certain things, or people inspire you or motivate you in such a way. But what was it for you in your early days that started your journey?
It's a great question. I have three very specific goals that I wanted to achieve as a very, very young kid. Number one, I wanted to be a U.S. Marine. Number two, I wanted to be a firefighter. But
And Zacharias pushed the wrong button. Maybe back with him shortly as he reconnects. So he's explaining his history and what made Zachariah tick, let's just say. So he'll be back with us, and he's back with us now. So going back to what we were saying. Zachariah, are you back with us? He's connected now. It's okay. I was explaining to the viewers, watchers, whatever you want to describe it, to fill the gap that you pushed the wrong button.
that's right. That's right. But no, I had three goals growing up. I wanted to be a U.S. Marine, I wanted to be a firefighter, and I wanted to be an entrepreneur. Um, Unfortunately, my parents weren't very excited about me becoming a Marine. Matter of fact, no one in my family had been in the military before, and my parents were so anti-gun, I wasn't even allowed to have squirt guns growing up. And
Mm.
go figure, I ended up joining the U.S. Marine Corps and getting in the infantry. But I struggled a lot growing up. I went to about six different schools from kindergarten through high school. Had really severe ADHD. And, it's funny, they call that a disability when you're younger, but as you get older, you learn to turn it into a superpower. And I say,
Yeah.
I don't have a disability. I have a super ability. And that is I'm an energetic multitasker. I can do multiple things at once. And it wasn't until I ended, and I went to a bunch of different schools. I went to private schools. I went to Montessori schools. I went to public schools, and I just never really felt like I was fitting in right. And it was ultimately a Catholic high school where I had that nice mix of both discipline and compassion. And that really gave me the opportunity to start to flourish. And then eventually got me into the Marine Corps, where I needed a little bit more discipline. And I certainly found it there in the Marine Corps.
It is, and I'm not American, so I can't relate to the Marines. But I wasn't even in the Army or Navy Corps when I was in England. But they always say they instill in you when you're a cadet, especially when you're a cadet or even a young NCO. They want to put the incentive in you so you grow to be assertive, to be stronger.
Well, and I think people don't realize the power that the human mind has and the power of the human body. Most of us never ever push ourselves to that limit that is anywhere close to where we hit that upper limit. And what I learned in the Marine Corps is pretty much I could do anything. I mean, literally anything if we put our mind to it. And you do that through what I call the warrior principles: tenacity, grit, not giving up. But you also have to think about other warrior principles like serenity and brotherhood and peace and harmony. Um, in my book, I studied multiple different types of warriors, and the one warriors that really inspired me were the samurai, because the samurai focused just as much time on swordsmanship as they did on poetry, and as they did on calligraphy and all these other types of things to make sure they were more well-rounded.
Mm. And, when you was part of the firefighting team, you was a firefighter. You was working as a team camaraderie was there as well.
Yeah, and it's funny because when I got out of the Marine Corps, I missed that brotherhood, I missed that camaraderie, and most importantly, I missed the support. I missed having something that was bigger than me that
Mm.
I could be part of. And I found that in the fire service. And it's funny because in the Marine Corps, we take things that are really fun and we do a great job of making them as miserable as possible. In the fire service, we take things that are really miserable and try to do a good job of making them as fun as possible. And the fire department was a great experience. Again, get to help people, get to serve your country. After September 11th, we learned that service isn't always in Iraq or Afghanistan or in the Falklands. It could be in our own backyard, and that was something really exciting for me.
Yeah, and the daunting thing is you never know, even for both sides of a coin, you never know what's going to be around that corner. And you touch upon the subject there of 9/11. That's the harshest reality check that anyone could have. And I know I was only 18, 19, I think, when it happened. But the thing was, I watched constantly when I was watching it on the news. It's like, this is happening. And then the Prime Minister of the UK, when I was still in the UK at the time, said, it won't happen to us. Terrorism won't come to, the UK. 2005 came along. The day after the London Olympics got announced as being in London for 2012. Could have been that same day. Luckily it wasn't. But on 7/7, 2005, terrorism came to England. It hit London. It hit the points like it did America. And the harsh reality was, it made everyone realize it is real. It happens. And I'm not trying to say this to trigger people, but terrorism is real.
But they can't imagine never it could happen. They never thought it could just bomb a flood, fire, and that was kind of like the war happened here. Every house is
Yeah. So it's just undescribable, Even now, it's just, I can't word it anymore because it's just how I see it. And how I see it is such a way that it does make you realize what you have around you, family, loved ones, whatever, you know, people you can turn to. It just shows how a quick of your fingers and things do change very quickly.
well, and that's again, you got to be prepared. You've got to have a team around you, and again, I would say be part of something bigger. And that's what really happened to me. After serving on the fire department, I got lost in a fire. It was a really scary experience. I couldn't find my way out. I couldn't find my tools. And when I did obviously find my way out, I started talking to my captain, and he was almost making fun of me. And he said, "Look, this just happens to everybody. It's part of being a firefighter." And I went back and thought, you know what? That's not acceptable. There's got to be a better way of doing this. There's got to be a better way to solve these problems. And I ended up inventing a series of glow in the dark products that helps firefighters see each other in the dark. And so I turned it out of the trunk of my car, and I made about $5,000 in 6 months. And after doing that, realized I had something incredible. I went to a trade show, and in 3 hours in the trade show, or 3 days in the trade show, I ended up selling almost $30 million worth of product over the next couple of years as a result of the trade show that I ended up launching.
Yeah, so, you know, just about, growing as you grew because it said about battlefield to the boardroom. You transport teams to historic battlefields through storytelling and virtual battlefield tours to explore key leadership decisions made under pressure. That is a real powerful impact that you can have because you're showing people visually, because yes, you can talk like me and you are talking now, but it doesn't impact the same way. Unless you're a really powerful, impactful person, it does it. But pictures are more impactful, in my opinion, to say, look, this is this, like behind me, it says on there, there. But that doesn't impact people who can hear it. But the way I project my voice is hopefully in the way that impacts people. And when I engage, like I said, I'm engaged with you now. We both impacting in such a way that it will make it impactful. And Zachary is still having some technical issues and he's back with us. And he's right here on the journey. And we're with guest today, Zachary. He's back with us now and he's there.
Leadership is about. It's not just about managing people, it's about leading people. And you do that by finding a common cause that they're interested in, that you're hopefully also interested in, and then inspiring them to be the best that they can be and help them grow. And again, work for something bigger. You're something bigger. It's not just about you. You're putting yourself out there, giving up your weekends so you can go out and inspire and share things with other people. That's being a leader versus a manager, somebody that's just checking the box and making sure you show up on time and making sure you finish the widgets. And look, that's an important job, but leadership is so much deeper. It's so much more of finding those things that people hold dear. Simon Sinek is a great speaker, and he talks about the importance of what and how that a lot of people focus on, but it's the why that is the most important.
Yeah, and the why, like you said, is the more important because that's the defining moment when you say why, and when you get the clear, clarity answer to say why.
Exactly. Exactly.
And, I've been in situations myself where I'm not always open to say why. I'm always holding back because I'm always afraid of being rejected. And I shouldn't feel that way. It's like I do a day job. I'm doing the best I can. I don't always ask for help. I'm too proud. I do it the best way I can. I get feedback saying you're not doing it adequately. Why not show me how you want it done? Why not show me how you want it effectively done? That's how it should be. But because I'm too
Right.
quiet in my vocal ability to say, can you help me? Can you do this? Or can you show me? It hinders my progress, I believe.
Right. And that's unfortunate because that's a manager is somebody again checking the time. How quickly have you done it? Have you done it right? Where a leader is, okay, David, what is important to you? What do you want to do? And then helping you find the best self that you can be, rather than rating you off. And again, I'd rather have somebody that's not as good quality that works harder than somebody that has high quality and works fast, but maybe they don't line up to the core values of me or the company or whatever it is that we try to inspire people to do.
Yeah, it's like I said, I'm trying to not bring my elements of job into it, but it's like you talk to your supervisor. Your supervisor is supposed to understand what do you do if you can't get through to your supervisor. You got to take it one step further.
Right.
And then
Absolutely.
you talk to that one step further. Now, if you don't get heard, then you take it another step. There is ways about it. And then you should get after the respect. Then, like example, you do something wrong or you're doing something in their eyes wrong. What do you do? Tell me, show me. Don't get any response. Okay, can you take me to your superior, which is the bigger boss as I call it? And you explain it. And then that bigger boss is supposed to say to the supervisor to say to you, look, we as a team want this, and it's about collaborating to make it a better place instead
Absolutely.
instead of being silent.
That's a great way of putting it.
So it said about testifying before Congress and obviously representing the US at the Global Entrepreneurship Conference. That must have been scary as well because obviously it's talking before, representatives, I believe they are, if I get my way of talking about it because I was still learning about American politics. But but how was that for you?
I mean, it was one of the most impactful experiences of my life for several reasons. The main was, again, growing up, I was told I wasn't smart enough. I was told I wasn't good enough. I constantly had challenges at going from school to school. And here I am sitting in front of arguably one of the most significant uh, organizations in the world. I mean, it's United States of America, it's Congress, and they're asking me for advice, and they're asking me to tell something. I just as I was talking on doing my testimony, I thought of all those people that said I wasn't going to amount to anything, and I'm thinking about them that they really haven't done much. And look at me, I'm here in front of Congress. Being put into the Library of Congress as a permanent record as our government. And the discussion was around entrepreneurship, and it was around ways that the government can help entrepreneurs. And what happened is banks are usually not that great for startup companies. They're great for existing companies, but they want you to have 3 to 5 years of profitability before they'll give you money. Well, if you've only been in business for 3 years, that's pretty impossible. And second of all, not all companies make money right off the bat. Sometimes it takes a couple of years till they can start becoming profitable. And so what happens is the government gives all the money to the bank and tells the bank, "Hey, go give this money out." But the problem is the bank doesn't give it to anybody; they just keep it. And so what happens is the market finds a way. And what the market started doing was basically saying, what if we could loan money directly outside of the bank? And think of it as like Shark Tank meets eBay. You started getting these peer-to-peer microloans where you would get someone like yourself that says, "Hey, I've got a great podcast. I want to get an extra $10,000 to buy some new equipment." And then what you would do is record a video, upload it to their platform, and think of it as like eBay meets Shark Tank. You give your pitch, and then I can say, "David, you seem like you got your things together. I'll give you $1,000, but I want 10% interest." And then someone else says, "Well, I'll give you 5,000 bucks, but I want 20% interest." And what the software does is it groups all those different requests together, and then it blends it and said, "Okay, we got you funded, and here's what the percentage is." Their default was almost zero. I mean, they really had good thing. They never looked at your credit score. They didn't even. They just wanted to see what your verbal business plan was and inspire them. Where at the bank, they want to have a 40-page business plan, and that doesn't tell you if you got a good business plan, it just tells you if you got a good report writer. And what's interesting is my advice to the government says, "Well, how can we help?" And I'm like, "Stay the hell out of it. The best way you guys can screw things up is to start putting regulations." This is an example of what happens when you leave the free market to itself, it finds a way. And I'm really proud that industry now is just flourishing.
Yeah, and you touch upon, it's like a Shark Tank eBay thing. It's true, I don't ask for donations for the podcast. I know I could do better. Like I got not, what's behind me visually. It's not a complete green screen. I want a complete green screen. Now, if I wanted to, yes, I could dip into my pocket and say I want I spend it myself. But why should I do that when I can potentially get people to, if they like what they hear, they can say, "Oh, I like what you do. Can we help you?" Yes, I can say, "You can help me." I got this page set up, which I have. I've got a Ko-fi page set up. They can donate to that Ko-fi page.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You're totally right.
And the same goes for Patreon. You can, I'm not set one Patreon up, but I use Ko-fi a lot more. And I set that up on a basis of people, if they like what they see, they go to my Ko-fi page, they see I'm wanting a green screen, they can click donate, that will help towards it. And then I can get the better green screen. At the moment,
There you go.
I'm happy with what I got at the moment, but if I move too much, I know I start getting
All
to
right.
talk. But I got a light, I got a camera, I got a microphone, I got not big earphones, but I got earphones.
Well, and that's the great thing about what we've got now, because if this was 10 years ago, shit, even 5 years ago, and you wanted to get your message out, it would be almost impossible, or you would have to spend so much money to to buy commercial time or get on the radio. But now, anybody that's got an internet connection, a microphone, an earpiece, we can share that story. You can touch more people, inspire other people that are maybe struggling right now, and they hear your story and how successful you've been at podcasting, and that may work them. That right there, David, is an example of you being such a great leader and inspiring others by hearing your voice and what you do. And I
Mm,
think that's great. And I salute you because you're just as much as a warrior as a Navy SEAL or a Spartan, because a
thank you.
warrior again is somebody that takes something that is important and they put that above themselves, and they do everything they can to help that.
Yeah, thank you for that. It's like I always like hearing that sort of thing because it gives me the confidence to carry on. But how I started the podcast, I started in podcasting because I was on a community radio station in England, and I said it'd be good for radio station to have podcasts. So they started putting up repeats of the interviews they had with guests. I've been following podcasts since the early days when it was 2004 when they first came out, and it was very basic. When I started out on a podcast, I was very basic. Yes, I had a 400, and I was in America at the time, so I can use American money for this reference. I used a $400 iPad. I had a basic camera. It was very, very basic. It was like PGA quality on the front camera. I didn't have a light. I didn't have a proper microphone. That's how I
Yep.
started. I was happy
Yep.
with that. The
And
internet,
sometimes sometimes you get more credibility by doing that because you're more authentic versus someone that's got a full studio and a whole team of people. There's something authentic about, like you said, it's just two guys hanging out, having a conversation on a Saturday.
exactly. It's like if you go to a coffee shop, you have a coffee. If you go to a bar, you're having a beer or whatever you want to drink. Or if you don't drink alcohol, water. That sort of thing. Now, I'm not saying I'm 100% there with my setup. Yes, you heard what I said. I got a camera, I got a light, I got a microphone, I got earphones. I'm still not 100% happy with what I got, but with what I got now, I'm happy because, like you see, my production's that bit better. And I
Exactly right. And that's important to do.
and the quality when I upload, if it's a Wi-Fi issue, I just make a joke of it and I carry on, or I will put in the post edit, a few moments later, like they do on SpongeBob when they do a cutscene like that, very moments later.
Yep.
But
Exactly.
But that makes the production and I make it a lot better. I make it stronger because that is how I define it. But I don't wear the badge to say intentionally, look, I'm this, I'm that. I used to. And I admit
Great.
I used to wear that badge a lot. And people was like, why are you wearing that badge of honor to say, I am David? And even my old boss from England who worked on the radio with me, why you used to wear that badge? And it's not about wearing that badge. It's about doing things quietly to be successful.
Yes. Agreed. Agreed. Well, David, it's been a real pleasure speaking with you
Thank
today.
you.
I'm really honored
And
to be on the cast.
and
And
and I'll make sure your book, I assume it's on Amazon.
yes, yep.
I'll make sure that's in the description post edit.
Thank you so much. Well, have a great day. And again, thank you for the opportunity to
And
speak
thank
with
you
you.
for sharing your journey with us.
Take
Thanks.
care.
Thanks. Thanks to our guest there for a wonderful journey. And now a couple of messages to share with you.
Hello, I am Amy Harrison. I'm the author of the book Feline Warrior Part 1 and Part 2, a fictional story that is written in a poetic format that is based on real-life events that could happen to anyone and intended only for relatable purposes. This story claws into Catgirl's past abuse. Catgirl is human and part feline, but truly a warrior who can handle anything because she is strong and fierce. She has been taken advantage of for far too long. Join her on her journey as she reaches freedom. Here are some poems from Feline Warrior. Tears flow. I no longer know what to do. I am no longer who I once was, and it is because I made a choice to use my voice, and that is okay, because what I had to say was true, unlike me and you. Now I see. I am free. I am me. I am Catgirl. Ultimately, be you. Always stay true. Do what you want to do, because every day is made new. If you want to read more, visit the link in the description. Meow at you later!
Music by Erica R. from Pixar Bay.
By Tim Parsons. The narrator is Kate Barton. Director and producer, Darren Street. Tim Parsons would like to thank family and friends for their support with the paramedic Chris venture. The series is dedicated to the memory of his father, Reverend David Parsons. Copyright Tim Parsons 2020, all rights reserved. Unauthorized use, copying or sharing of this audiobook is strictly prohibited. This has been a Voice Reel studio production for Tim Parsons.
Oh, good afternoon, everyone. I've just been listening to the Paramedic Chris children's books on audio again, and I just love it because they've given a tribute in one of them to my dad as well, who passed away a few years ago. I love audio books, and it's great to walk around, and it's great to sit at the computer, if you're out jogging or wherever, to listen to them as well. All 4 of the Paramedic Chris children's books are available on audio book from Amazon. Go and take a listen to them. You won't be disappointed. You'll hear what happens when a community pulls together and supports one another. The best thing is to pop over to my website, paramedicchriskidsbooks.org, and you'll see the links on the shop page. Keep safe, everyone, and thank you for being you.
The Journey podcast explores stories of personal growth, challenges, and life-changing moments. Each episode dives into unique experiences, offering insights and inspiration for listeners navigating their own paths. I believe everyone has a story worth sharing. If you'd like to share your journey with David and others, email your story to wisewords1983@reborn.com, and it may be featured in a future episode.